Hey guys, Brian Beeler coming to you again from the Storage Review Lab. We've got 2 videos in one day and we're excited because we've got more gear in from OWC. Now OWC, you'd know them as MacSales.com. They make a ton of peripherals that have historically been geared towards Mac users, but really address the needs of enthusiasts, of people that prefer quality over cost. Not that their stuff is expensive, but it's nicer, it's not cheap gear. So it's well made, and so you pay a little extra for that, and that's all right. This is the Mercury Elite Pro. It's a 3.5-inch enclosure for hard drives. It's sold bare or with drives. This one's 4 terabyte. They sent us 2, and the reason they sent us 2 is they want to enable the outreach we've been doing, especially on Reddit with giveaways. So these will be showing up in the giveaway pile in the not too distant future. Let's go ahead and pop one open and see what we're dealing with. Our trusty box opener. Now the OWC line is nice because they sell these both with hard drives, so if you're not inclined to take it apart and put the drive in, which isn't difficult, you can buy it bare. Bare straight from them is $49, so that's a pretty good price for an aluminum high quality piece of machinery. So we've got the device, we've got a little overview of package contents, and then presumably power cable. And what else do we have in the little bag here? We've got the USB. Now they use the traditional USB B to A port cable, so that'll be something we'll address with an adapter to the MacBook Air. And they've got this really nice little machined foot holder guy. That's pretty neat. And a set of squishy feet that probably can go on the base of this or the side, or maybe on this guy, depending on how you mount it. It's got little rubber track in here on the sides and on the bottom to hold it in if you want to go with an upright, and little rubber feet here too to keep it from sliding around. Let's keep going on this unwrap and see what else we've got going on in here. This is well packaged. We're gonna have to require the box cutter for a second time in one video. That's a new record. So of course this one's a little weighty, as it would be, because it has the hard drive inside, but we can see, flip it over, we've got the power switch, lock key, the USB port, and the power port. Now one of the other really neat things about this is if we were to disassemble it, which looks like it'll only take 2 screws, you'll see that it's fanless inside. That's great from a versatility standpoint. If you want to work with it on your desk, if you want to work with it with a gaming console, a media center in your home, there's a lot of use cases where something like this would come in handy, just to have the capacity for movies or photos or whatever you want. But the fanless design is brilliant in terms of being quiet and not disrupting where you are. So you'll hear the lovely little ticks of the hard drive as it whirls away and swooshes around to find your data, but no whirring of a fan or additional decibels on top. So let's go ahead and come in a little tighter. I think we should probably take this apart and look at the insides while we've got it out, and then we'll hook it up here and see what it does from a performance standpoint. All right, so as we come in a little tighter on the enclosure itself, I can't help but to be maybe more enamored by the foot than the enclosure itself. So as I was unboxing it and we were talking about the little rubber grippers, there's 2 on the bottom and then 4 inside, 2 on the sides and 2 on the bottom. It's the least, well, maybe it's more expensive than the cables, but it's less expensive than the enclosure, and it is way neater in a lot of ways, which is so silly. But you put this guy down on the table, and with a little bit of pressure, try to wiggle it, it just kind of grips to the surface. And when you put the drive enclosure in, it's a nice snug fit. So this thing's going to stay really nice and stable. Of course, if you're a creative professional, you probably have a cat, so a cat could knock this over. I mean, that could be, you know, something to watch out for. But it is really, really stable. And of course, if you want, you can turn them over and stack them up sideways, just on top of each other. But big props to OWC. I'm probably more excited than I should be because of the foot. So the foot aside, there's just 2 screws on the back of this that we'll remove. and then pop the guy out inside. Now this is rated on the website to go up to 283 megabytes per second, and part of that, as this guy slides out, part of that is the drive inside. So this is a 4 terabyte Toshiba drive, high quality drive. We've liked Toshiba drives in the past, and in fact we use their 8 terabyte NAS drives as part of all of our NAS reviews. So 7K drive should get really good performance. As we go around to the side, a couple screws with rubber grommets there for vibration isolation. You can't really see, but there's a couple millimeters of airspace between the drive itself and the bottom of the tray. And we switch around to the back. There's a PCB with all the connectors and power switch and all of that. So everything's nice and tight, laid out in there as you would expect in a drive like this. So we'll go ahead and put it back together. Grab that, grab the plate I knocked over, and then put the 2 screws back in. And then we'll go ahead and just fire this up real quick, hit it with Black Magic, see what we get out of it, and see if we can detect some thoughts or put some thoughts together just anecdotally on noise and that sort of thing as we start to use it, which is nice now that we've got this lower lab all quiet for these videos. You may even pick up some of the sound as we go to operate it. So I'm going to put it back in this little foot because I like the foot so much. Give it its power, hit the switch, and then I'll go ahead and... Now, as we know with the MacBook Air and its ports of doom or no ports of doom, we'll have to use an adapter cable to have it show up on that. But as Mac users, we've become quite accustomed to such things. So as I go over to Disk Utility, the OWC drive shows up as OWC Setup. So they've included a little tool on the drive to help you through the formatting process if you want. I'm just going to use the standard Mac tools to do this. We'll go ahead and format it, give it a name, and that'll just take a second to go through and format. Okay, so that's done. Now if we go over and launch Black Magic, we should find this guy that I've, oops, we don't need a screenshot yet, we'll save that for later. This target should show up as, yep, my OWC Merc HDD. So we'll select that and let it start running. So out of the gate, well, actually while that's going, you'll notice too that now that we're powered up, there's a little blinky LED. So there was a wire chase to the front, which is a nice little subtle blue light just to let you know it's working. But as we start to go, we're looking at 180 basically write, 185 read, which is pretty reasonable out of a single hard drive. There may be different hard drive performance characteristics that would enable you to get up over the 200 megabytes per second that they quote. Of course, like I said, you can buy this bare, or buy this bare with no drive, so that's $49. And then they'll sell you one with a hard drive inside all the way up to 16 terabytes. Now, one thing to note is you might be thinking, well, I can just add my own drive and maybe save a little bit. That's true for sure, but OWC from a warranty and support standpoint will do more, can do more for you if you've purchased the entire thing through them. But anyway, this will keep going for a little while, and we're seeing 180, which is pretty fine for a hard drive of this capacity and quality. Although we could certainly put something else in there and get probably a little bit over 200 megabytes per second for each of these tests. Now, from a noise standpoint and vibration, I'm just sort of feeling it here to see. It's got a little rumble to it as the drive is spinning around in there. I can hear it. I don't know, 2 or 3 feet from it, and out of my good ear, I can hear a little bit of activity. But if you had this at home connected to a TV, you're not going to hear this. And given all the Xbox that's occurring in our household, as many of you probably have the same thing, The fans on some of those gaming systems are well louder than the noise that this is putting out just by the whirring of the hard drive inside. And if we think about creatives or other use cases where you want a high capacity drive on your desktop, yeah, I mean, it's just sort of sitting there whirring away, but not making any offensive noises. So if you're a creative and it's there and it's next to your potted plant and your cat's over in the corner, everything's going to be fine from a noise standpoint. So that's about it for this guy, for this video. We'll work on a full review, run our additional benchmarks, and have that up at storagereview.com. You'll see how motivated we get. It could be this week if we move quickly. So we'll get to work on that and have this review up for you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.